Jeremy Thorpe's gay ex-lover Norman Scott comes face to face with would-be assassin for first time. A would-be assassin who was asked to kill Liberal leader Jeremy Thorpe's gay ex-lover has come face to face with his intended target for the first time. Dennis Meighan agreed a £13,500 fee £140,000 today, to murder former male model Norman Scott, who had an affair with the late party chief in the 1960s when homosexuality was illegal. Revelations of the scandal would have torpedoed Thorpe's glittering political career, and he was said to be desperate to silence Scott. But Meighan pulled out of the contract and went to police, only for the incident allegedly to be covered up. Meighan went on to supply a gun to the man who eventually took on the hit. Gunman Andrew Newton shot dead Scott's dog Rinka. But the firearm jammed when he took aim at his human quarry, allowing Scott to escape. Thorpe and accomplices were eventually tried for plotting Scott's murder, the Mail on Sunday reports. But, to widespread disbelief, they were cleared by a jury. Public fascination with the case has been reignited by the BBC drama A Very English Scandal, starring former weddings and funeral actor Hugh Grant as the ex-party chief. And now, decades after one was asked to kill the other, Meighan and Scott have held a bizarre meeting, recalling how only luck led to Scott surviving. Brought together by the Mail on Sunday for a surreal conversation, Scott asked him, "So, were you really going to murder me all those years ago?" Meighan told Scott, "That's what they wanted, to kill you, to shut you up. My brief was to shoot you. Would I have done it? I don't know, really. I was trying to work out how to get money off them without having to shoot you." He added, "It was never personal." Scott quipped, "That makes me feel so much better." Meighan was approached by an associate of former Liberal Party leader Thorpe and asked to silence his former lover Scott in the 1970s. Scott recently told the Mirror it was only one of 5 plots to assassinate him. "There were 5 attempts to kill me," he claimed. "One of the plans was to get me a job in America and then get me on a helicopter and drop me over the Everglades in Florida. It seems incredible, but it's true. Another one was to get me drunk in a pub in the West Country and drop me down Tin Mine in Cornwall. Another was to attack me with a chisel hidden in a bunch of flowers. It sounds bizarre and it sounds like the ramblings of a lunatic, but it was all absolutely true. It's become common knowledge and now accepted as fact." Despite deciding not to take on the job of murdering Scott, Meighan did however end up supplying the gun used in the eventual bungled assassination attempt. He gave the Mauser firearm to would-be hitman Andrew Newton, who used it in the botched bid to kill Mr. Scott. The former party leader's lover was with his Great Dane, Rinka, on Exmoor when gunman Newton blasted the dog before turning the weapon on Mr. Scott, only for it to fail. Scott, 78, said he only escaped because the weapon jammed when Newton forced it against his head. Recalling the horrific moment he was nearly shot, Mr. Scott said, "The last memory of him is of him shaking the gun in the car headlights, saying, 'F it, F it.'" Meighan replied, "Shaking it? That wouldn't have done much good. He should have reloaded it really. Whether that would have done it, I don't know." Scott told how a more powerful bullet could have traveled through Rinka and struck him. Meighan revealed the gun came from his private collection and was the only one that worked. Newton, who is still alive and living in Surrey under the name Han Redwin, was the only protagonist ever convicted over the scandal. He was jailed for 2 years in the 1970s for firearms offenses after confronting Scott. Newton claimed Thorpe had paid him £5,000 to kill the politician's his ex-lover. But an Old Bailey jury acquitted Thorpe and his accomplices of conspiracy to murder in 1979 in what was dubbed the trial of the century. Scott still hopes his claims will one day be proven true. He told the Mirror, "I'm still very confident that the truth will out. I've always said that. I know justice will prevail in the end. I still dream of justice. I would love it if somehow it's proved in a court of law that I was telling the truth." As the years have passed, many people have come up to me and said they believed me. It is very heartening.